Hey crew, Coach Rod here. It's late on a Saturday night. I'm doing a review of week 6 this past week, where we had Valentine's Day on Monday, and then Wednesday we had a regular day with Teratogens, but then I did have some goldfish crackers to hand out. So then I'm finally getting around to this review, which is tough because everything else going on. Anyway, so I'm doing a review of week 6. Now what's interesting is we talked on Monday the 14th, we talked a lot about lead poisoning, lead toxicosis, how if you're out west, the number one poisoning cases could be lead poisoning, which is just like really you wonder how that happens. And then we talked about acute versus chronic lead poisoning, and then unfortunately have to talk about everybody in Flint and the kids especially. Here's an article that somebody sent me a link to. I talked about how these bald eagles are being poisoned with lead shot. It's basically wild animals are shot with lead shot, and then the eagles come and consume the leftovers, we'll say, and it's very potent for them because, you know, they're a smaller body size than, let's say, a person or a cow. So there's a lot of this bald eagle lead exposure. Then I saw this article about lead in hunted meat poses health risk to families and food banks because sometimes somebody will shoot a deer or a moose or an elk and then donate it to a food bank. Well, if you're not careful, the lead shot will be consumed by people and could lead to lead toxicosis. So, very interesting. You know, we talked about it several ways in class, and this hunting thing is interesting. And then I found this article. This is brand new. No one told me about this, but I found it. And here it is, where an ingested lead shot retained in the GIT tract, gastrointestinal tract, retained. So you can have this little shot of lead shot, and if it's retained in the abdominal cavity, the person can have quite a level of lead in their blood. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And it all went to our lead toxicosis, and on Monday the 14th, the quiz was write a couple paragraphs to summarize lead toxicosis. Very interesting. Okay, then the second topic we did have this last week was teratogens. And man, did we have a lot of links going to teratogens. And the ones that were the best were stating that it's an agent that affects the development of embryos and fetuses. But I should say that, embryos are more vulnerable. They're the ones that are developing organs the fastest, and so teratogens probably have the most detrimental effect when they affect the embryo. The fetus is basically enlarging all of its structures / organs. But a teratogen will affect anything. And we had quite a list of teratogens, and so be very careful about that. On our quiz, I know we had to list 15 statements of fact on teratogens, and that was the quiz. That was February 16th. Okay, now I feel like I have to have a public service announcement. I guess they call those things when you talk about what happened, and this is really sad. So not too far from the Lafayette area, Monticello, I'm going to say it's 30, 40 miles away, north by northeast, there was a mother and her daughter that died in a fire at about 2 a.m. The husband was off, I think, snowmobiling someplace, and another daughter was off someplace, or maybe she's in college. So here we got high school student and her mother, and the mother was a Indiana State Police trooper. They died in a fire in Monticello, which is very close to us. And there they are, Maya, here on the left, and then her mother, Stephanie. Really crazy stuff. It's like, how in this day and age, with smoke detectors and everything, can people die in a fire? I'm not sure how I understand that. We don't know all the details, but my wife did say that she heard in the news that homes burn faster nowadays than in the past. So I brought that up. And look at this. Research shows that 30 years ago, you had 17 minutes to escape a house fire. That's a lot of time to escape a fire. But today, it's only 3 or 4 minutes. And the kicker is, the article, which I don't have down here, talks about all the synthetic material that is used in homes nowadays versus in the past where they weren't synthetic. They were more like wood, metal, whatever. But now there's a lot of synthetic fabric in curtains and wall coverings and couches. And so be aware of this. It's like, wow, before we had a lot of time to escape a fire. I mean, when I say a lot, 17 minutes. And another thing is, I guess homes were more divided. The rooms are smaller. There were more rooms, whereas now there might be very large rooms and fire can spread faster because there's no wall between areas. But that's amazing. And I'm going to be listening to what they find out about this fire where the mother and the high school student died. Very sad. And I'm not sure about smoke detectors in the home. Sometimes people unplug them or something because they tend to go off when you burn something in the kitchen. I don't know. I just want to say public service announcement. Be careful about that. Okay, so this is like public service announcement number 2. Oh, man, I don't know. Anyway, that's the 18th. That's like a couple days ago. A couple days ago, in Florida, a woman was mauled to death by a large dog. A large dog fatally mauled a longtime volunteer at Florida Animal Shelter who was trying to help it acclimate to humans after it was found in the Everglades. So this dog had been found out in the wild, and they were trying to let's say, domesticate it, and she was fatally mauled. Here's another little headline about it. A large dog fatally mauled a longtime volunteer who was trying to acclimate it. So her heart was in a good place. Pam, 71-year-old retired school teacher, died. It doesn't say right here, but the dog was over 100 pounds. I'm not sure how much over 100 pounds, but a 71-year-old school teacher, I mean, I don't weigh 100 pounds, but some women definitely weigh 100 or less. So maybe this woman was rather light, let's say, weight. The dog was over 100 pounds, maybe weighed as much as her or more. And I'm going to say I'm not sure if the woman should have been dealing with a dog that big. That's easy for me to say. I have no idea of all the circumstances. But this is crazy when you have somebody fatally mauled in an animal shelter by a big dog. Nobody better than me knows how to deal with a big dog, right? I've had 180, 160, and another 160-pound dog. You have to know what you're doing. So this is a public service announcement. I'm so sorry for that person. That's all I got to say.